The overhand right to counter the left hook from Kavaliauskas was just one of the ways that Crawford was able to end the fight. We're going to get into the other aspect of it, but this is the first knockdown that Crawford scored in this fight. And Crawford is a prime example of doing something what I like to call is skill stacking. And I taught it from a basketball standpoint. It's the idea of breaking down the entire combination from the individual skill that's required to go ahead and do so. Now, this combination or this shot that knocks down Kavaliauskas, because we're in round 7 of 12 here, this is a mix of IQ, footwork, and power. As we skip ahead to what actually potentially ended the fight, there's going to be 2 more engagements that happen here, and it's going to be later in the round. So this knockout or this knockdown happens in round 7, round 8 transpires, and then round 9 is when Crawford gets busy once again. So let's skip ahead to that. So that's the second part of the knockdown, and this is the one that really kind of ends the fight, or sets up the next punch that's going to end the fight when the ref starts this as stoppage. Now, if you notice, the first knockdown that happened, it was a right hand or overhand right to counter Kavaliauskas' left hook that he threw at Crawford. And Crawford was in the southpaw, was in the orthodox stance, and so was Igas. Now, if you notice, Crawford is now switching to the southpaw stance against Kavaliauskas' orthodox stance. And Crawford used to do this a lot in his fights where he'll start orthodox, and once he realizes that you get in right-handed position, he'll start switching to southpaw because he has a really good southpaw right hand and a powerful right hand. And when you're a southpaw, your right hand is closer to the orthodox opponent's face. So it allows you to go ahead and get those shots off. So now, when we talk about skill stacking once again, this combination includes Crawford's footwork, his IQ, and power. Now, this is the reason why I say Crawford has some of the best footwork in the game. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but it does. Your footwork has to allow you to get in and out of positions where you can devastate and dominate your opponents. So if we look back at what this knockdown and how it happened here. So if we pause here, Crawford is in the southpaw stance. Igas is in the orthodox stance at this point. Crawford is going to throw a looping left hand. And the reason why he's throwing that looping left hand is because if you notice, Kavaliauskas' head is towards his back heel. You would call that back foot, or you would call that position 2. Whatever your coach calls it, I don't care what it is. I just want you to understand what it looks like so you can practice this on your own, because we're obviously going to get this done on the mitts, and we're also going to get it on the heavy bag, because the idea of this film study is for you to get better at boxing, not you just watching these things and understanding. We want you to implement this and add this to your game. So the first shot that Crawford throws is a looping left hand. Now, most times that shot will get somebody out of here, but like Kavaliauskas' nickname is Mean Machine, so he's going to stay there, right? So we're going to go with a looping left hand to now a lead hand, right? And Crawford throws that lead hand not like a jab. He's throwing that like a cross from the southpaw orthodox, from a southpaw stance. You could do this in the orthodox stance as well. And we'll talk about that as well, because everything that's available for you, available for southpaws against an orthodox fighter, it's actually available for an orthodox fighter against a southpaw fighter. You guys just don't get an opportunity to prepare it as much because you don't see a lot of southpaw fighters when you're in the gym. The same way southpaw fighters don't actually see a lot of southpaw fighters. So back to as far as for this cross that happens. Now, the next shot that Crawford's going to throw, because those 2 punches are the setup shots for the money shot that he's about to throw right now against Igas, which is going to land clean. And that is a rear hand from the southpaw stance. It's a straight left, right on the money. And if you notice, as far as Kavaliauskas right now, he's doing what I call the Caleb Plant 2-step, which is what Caleb Plant did against Canelo when Canelo and him were fighting. So now, if you notice, Igas is going to get backed up towards the ropes. This is where I talk about the skill stacking standpoint, because Crawford is able to walk him down, get against the ropes, and we'll also talk about adding your IQ. He is going to feint a position right now. And so feinting is making your opponent think you're going to do something without doing it. So if you notice, Crawford is going to feint low into this shot, and watch how Igas, or look from this picture, how Igas just goes ahead and covers up. So now Crawford, from a footwork standpoint, he's going to shuffle backwards and shift at the same time, which means his weight is predominantly on his back foot right now. As he shuffles, he's going to shift his weight to his front foot and throw that rear uppercut at the same time. When somebody's head is down or is going down, that is a cue for you to start throwing your uppercuts. So if you notice now, Aegis gets clipped, and that's the first part of the combination. So let's watch that again live without the breakdown so you guys can see what's going on here. Now, to be able to do that, that takes practice, that takes preparation, because Crawford is not trying to figure out, how do I move my feet to get in these positions? How do I throw this power shot to get into these positions? All this stuff was prepared before he got into the ring, and these are just reads that he's making. Now, if I don't use the correct verbiage from a boxing standpoint, you guys will understand that most of my verbiage is coming from a basketball background, even though I am a boxing coach at this point, right? But that is a read that Crawford's making to go ahead and get this guy out of here. Now, as we skip forward, because the fight's not over yet, this is just a knockdown. Watch what Crawford does as he just walks into this next shot. No setup necessary. He already knows that anytime that he throws a shot, Aegis's head is going to go to Aegis's back foot, which is his right heel, which is right-handed position. And he's just going to launch this shot, get him out of there. So that is the quick film study of how Crawford set up this shot to end the fight against Aegis Kavaliauskas, which happens to be one of Crawford's toughest fights out of his own mouth. Obviously, this film study is to have you guys understand how to add this to your game. So the film study is just the first part for us. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the mitt work aspect of it. And I promised you guys that we're going to do it in both ways. We're going to do it from a southpaw against an orthodox fighter, but we're also going to do it from an orthodox fighter against a southpaw fighter. Because once again, everything that's available for a southpaw fighter against an orthodox fighter is available for an orthodox fighter against a southpaw fighter. So I'll see you guys at the next part of this, which is the mitt work. You guys understand this is a 3-part video. We go film study, breakdown, we go mitt work breakdown, and then we go into heavy bag breakdown, because we want to make sure that you implement this into your game, not just watching the film study. I'll see you guys over there. This is the combination on the mitts that Terence Crawford dropped Aegis Kavaliauskas with. It's a long sequence, so we are going to break down everything of it. Andrew, who's going to demonstrate for us, he does fight out of southpaw and orthodox, but mainly orthodox, so it's a good opportunity for me to teach him how to do it from a southpaw standpoint when he is able to take advantage of an orthodox fighter. So Andrew, if you go ahead and start over here from that southpaw stance. So the first sequence, or the first part of the engagement that Terence got into was Aegis Kavaliauskas takes his head to the back foot a lot. So when Crawford is moving towards his right and Aegis is also moving to his right as well, what Crawford is going to do is he's going to dip off that back foot or that rear leg. So go into a crouch off that back foot, and then don't worry about throwing just yet. Go ahead and get into that crouch just to kind of on that back foot. So just go ahead and get into that lean, just like that small little dip, right? And so now when he does that, what he does first is he actually throws a looping left hand as he comes forward into that front foot. Now the next shot that he throws is going to be a right cross right there to get him in position to be able to now throw that straight left. That's the shot that backed up Aegis on the ropes. Now, that is the first part of the game combination. Now when Aegis is on the ropes, what Crawford does is he comes forward, and then what he's going to do is he's going to shuffle and shift going to his back foot to load up his front hand, his rear hand. Because as he dips and he shuffles, Aegis drops his head down. Now that's a shift going to the left. I don't want you to go to the left. I actually want you to go straight back. So Aegis dips, Crawford shuffles, get a little bit closer because you can't shuffle that far. Shuffle, and then he comes up with that uppercut, and that's the shot that drops Aegis. Now from there, the ref calls that a knockdown. They come back into the exchange. The punch that ends the fight is Crawford walks up to Aegis, and he throws that lead right hand again at Aegis on the back foot as they step forward. So just throw it big, right there, a little bit more looping. Right in there, drops him again, the ref calls the fight. So that was the entire exchange and how you would do it on the mitt. So we're going to drill it a little bit from this southpaw orthodox standpoint, right? So dip a little bit, looping left hand, cross, straight, good, back me up. Now once you're here, feint low, shuffle back, rear uppercut. Let's reset again. Dip, shot, 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 step back a little bit, feint me low, shuffle, boom, right in there. Let's go one more. Dip. Hook, boom, there. Take me low, shuffle, shot. So that's how we would do it from a southpaw versus the orthodox. I told you guys in the film study, whatever is available for a southpaw fighter is available for an orthodox fighter. So now from a Mitt standpoint, we're going to switch sides. Andrew, you're going to go here, and you're going to be an orthodox, and now I'm going to hold the mitts from a southpaw standpoint. The same thing is available for Andrew against a southpaw fighter. If he's moving to his left, how coaches like to go and say, take top foot, take top foot. Tip for you guys, you should be able to fight both ways from a southpaw and an orthodox standpoint. So now if Andrew's moving to his left and I'm moving to the left as well, it's going to be the same thing. He's going to dip off that rear foot. He's going to come with the big hook. He's going to come with that cross. Then he's going to come with that straight right hand right there. Now, from the same process when we're doing it the opposite way, now he's going to feint me low, shuffle, shoot that uppercut. So that is the same sequence that's available for an orthodox fighter against a southpaw fighter. The hard part for you guys is from an application standpoint, because as an orthodox fighter, you don't see a lot of southpaw fighters. The same way that a southpaw fighter doesn't even see a lot of southpaw fighters. So now we're going to drill that a couple times once again. Dip, hook, get there, there, feint me low, boom, shot. One more time. Dip, boom, 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 feint me low, boom. One more. Dip, boom, boom, feint me low, boom, right in there. So that's how you would do it on the mitts as we break down what you saw from the film study. Obviously for you guys, the next thing that we'll say is doing it on the bag, and that will be the 3 parts of the video for you. How we do it in film and how you break it down, how you do it with your coach or a coach in general from a mitt standpoint, and then how you apply it from the heavy bag. I'll see you guys over there. Let's get into how to do Terence Crawford's ending sequence or ending engagements against Kavaliauskas in their fight Mean Machine. We're going to do it on the heavy bag and show you how to do it on the heavy bag. Crawford was in the southpaw stance, so I'm going to show you how to do it in the southpaw stance. But Kavaliauskas is an orthodox fighter, and everything that's available for you as a southpaw against an orthodox fighter can do against you as a southpaw fighter, or if you're an orthodox fighter, you can do that against a southpaw fighter. First thing that we're going to do is just get into the entire engagement. The first part of the engagement was dipping to the back foot, throwing that left hand, then throwing that right cross, then throwing that left cross. Then as Igas backed up on the ropes, Crawford got into a feint to make Igas drop his hands. Then he shuffled backwards to go ahead and shoot that uppercut. Now, as soon as the ref called that a stoppage, when they engaged once again, Crawford just walked up to him and threw that big lead hook to go ahead and end the fight. So if we look at how the combination goes, or the entire sequence, it is here, 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 feint, shuffle. I'm not going to land the uppercut on the bag, but just get into the correct sequence there, and then throw that big right hand. The good news about this is that entire sequence is something that you can practice on the bag. So if we do it again, and we have 3 areas of emphasis, let's now focus on our feet, make sure that's correct. We're still going to hit the bag, but our intentions when we play this up for my system, which is one day we focus on feet, one day we focus on hands, and one day we focus on head movement. Right now, my emphasis is making sure that my feet are correct. Then we can run that combination again. Now, if we want to get into what we're doing, we focus on our hands. Once again, making sure our hands are in a good place each time that we throw. Run that combination again. Intentions are focusing on the hands. Even though our head and our feet are involved, our intentions today are paying attention to what we're doing with our hands. Now, if we're focusing on what we're doing with our head movement, that's what we're doing today, running the same combination. We could pay attention to where our opponent is at. When it's a southpaw versus the orthodox, if you notice, kind of fighting in this direction. Our opponent is this way as we try to take that lead foot angle. So that's what we're paying attention to with our head, making sure we're dipping correctly, changing head slots each time that we punch, paying attention to where our opponent's head slot is at, shooting those shots, making sure our eyes go where they're supposed to go, running that combination again, or that sequence again. And that's how you would do Crawford's ending engagement against Kavaliauskas, Mean Machine, where it was a stoppage, one of Crawford's mini knockouts. That was me doing it southpaw against an orthodox fighter. I'm now going to change location so we can do it orthodox against a southpaw fighter. So we're running that combination, Crawford versus Mean Machine, Kavaliauskas. And we already did a southpaw, now we're going to do it orthodox as if we're fighting a southpaw fighter. A lot of your coaches will tell you to take that top foot. So if you notice, when we take that top foot against a southpaw fighter, our left foot is going to be outside their right foot, and we're fighting more so over this shoulder here. So we have the same opportunities available for us to go ahead and get into those shots. So it's a dip, rear hand, lead cross, rear cross, back up, feint to make the southpaw fighter drop their hands, shuffle backwards, throw that uppercut, get out, have the ref stop the fight because Kavaliauskas got dropped in that standpoint. Now we get into that walk, big lead hand to go ahead and get them out of there. So that's that combination. We'll run it again. Let them get to the ropes, feint them, uppercut, let the ref do his job, walk them down, big shot. So that's the combination, how it would look against a southpaw fighter. I already showed you from an orthodox fighter standpoint, if you're fighting orthodox fighter and you're a southpaw fighter. Now we're going to get into the emphasis for the day. First thing we're going to focus on is our footwork. Same combination, but our intentions are making sure our footwork is really good as we get all the way through here. Running that combination again. Intentions are the footwork even though we're hitting the bag. And that's what you would do, even though I am hitting the bag with my hands and your head moves as well. We're paying attention to what we're doing with our feet, making sure our intentions are pure with that. Now, as far as the second day, when we're focused on what we're doing with our hands, I want to make sure my hands are in a good place each time I throw the shot, paying attention to my opponent's hand position as well as we get into that combination. Intentions are what my hands are doing. Running that combination again. And today, and so that's what you would do if you focus on what you're doing with your hands. And then lastly, when we're focusing on our head movement, we want to make sure our head slot's in a good position. We're paying attention to where our potential opponent's head slot is in this position. And when we're fighting against a southpaw, the first shot is their head going to their back foot because that's mainly where their head is at. That's why we're throwing these big left hands or these big lead hands to go ahead and get them out of there. So paying attention to our head slot, our opponent's head slot. As I get into this feint low and the shift, making sure my head is changing head slots, get into that shot there, making sure I'm focusing on the head slot as I get into that shot as well. Running that combination one more time. And that would be how you do Crawford's combination against Kavaliauskas if he was in the southpaw, if he was in the orthodox stance, fighting somebody southpaw, because that's what the fight was. It was a southpaw versus an orthodox fighter. Everything that's available for you from a southpaw fighter against an orthodox fighter. Orthodox fighter has available against a southpaw. Just preparation standpoint of it, because you don't get to see a lot of southpaws if you're an orthodox fighter, and even southpaw fighters don't get to see a lot of other southpaw fighters. This is how you get better at it on the bag. That is the entire video for you guys. The film study, what happened live, how to apply it on the mitts with one of my fighters, and how you do it on your own in the heavy bag. Ask me questions. That's what I make videos on. I'll see you guys in the next one.